The way that you speak about things matters. Your word choice matters. How you talk to yourself, how you talk in your day-to-day, all of it matters. And this might not be a new concept to you. If you've ever learned about positive self-talk, positive affirmations, right? And that's not a new concept to you. You probably know that the way that you speak about things has an effect on the way that you think about things. And when you speak negatively to yourself, you're just creating this constant negative narrative in your mind. And that's why we say these positive affirmations, to retrain our brains and think differently and see things in a new light. Or maybe you've ended up on like manifestation side of the internet and you've heard the expression, your words are spells, or speak it into existence, your thoughts create your reality. And you've used this concept of choosing your words carefully to craft a new life for yourself, to put yourself in a positive future state, to, say to yourself, everything works out for me, everything in divine timing, like the I'm a lucky girl was so popular, Delulu is the Salulu, or as I think people were saying. You've probably heard this concept before, and it makes a lot of sense when you put it in those areas of life. But one thing we forget to do or constantly overlook is taking that same concept of paying attention to your word choice and implementing that on a day-to-day basis. Because in reality, yes, the way that you speak about things matters, but it matters all of the time, not just when you are saying affirmations, not just not just when you're manifesting things. It matters in the little comments you make when you're at work, the way that you speak about little errands that you're running throughout the day, in passing conversations in the house. Like, it adds up. The reason why it matters so much in those little moments in the day-to-day is because those comments are so subtle and so subconscious, and they add up constantly over time. And it's really easy to overlook, especially if you spend like literally any time on any platform. It just doesn't matter if it's 1 minute on YouTube Shorts, 5 minutes on Instagram Reels, 6 hours on TikTok. It doesn't matter what platform, what amount of time. The way that people tend to speak on the internet is very dramatic because it performs better, right? I think you're more likely to want to click on a video that says like, this decision almost destroyed my 6-figure business, rather than, a day in my life as an entrepreneur dealing with challenges, right? You're more likely to want to know what almost destroyed a 6-figure business, because that dramatic language is going to capture your attention better, right? We've heard about rage baiting probably, right? The idea of just saying something like with the intent of getting people to get angry and comment, like that content is there. Anyway, that sounds like a tangent, but the reason why I'm bringing that up is because it's really easy to then just think like, oh, but everybody speaks a certain way. Everyone speaks in this internet slang. Everyone speaks, and slang has always been around. Nothing against slang. I'm talking about the more like dramatic expressions rather than actually slang. It shapes the way that you speak in your day-to-day life, and then it ends up, even if it's something that started as a joke, started as just mimicking what you see online, turns into actual subconscious thought patterns that are affecting the way that you think about things and your ability to handle situations. I'm going to give some like really subtle examples. I think that will help. Simple, subtle, probably relatable examples that I think will help make you understand why I'm talking about this and what I'm getting at here. But a good example of this is like a simple one, right? You're at work and you're handed something that, management's like, you need this done by Friday, right? And maybe it's Wednesday and you're like, okay, I need to get this done because they're putting all this pressure on me and I need to do it. When you say that, like, oh, I need to do this, Like, it feels, and maybe, yes, you do need to do it, right? It's due on Friday. Maybe there's consequences if you don't get it done by then. But by constantly repeating yourself, oh, I need to get this done, I need to get this done, I need to get this done, you're putting yourself in a lot of stress. Maybe you had all these other things that you were going to get done on Wednesday, and then they just dumped this on your plate, and now you're like, I need to get this done, but I also needed to do these other things. You end up feeling very powerless and under a lot of pressure. But if you change that expression, I need to get this done, to this is due by Friday, I have a lot of time, I have 3 days, I'm going to get it done. Or like, okay, this is clearly really important to my manager, I'm going to get it done. It instantly just relieves so much of that pressure of the, oh, I need to do this, right? I need to get it done. You don't need to. I mean, you do, but you're going to. I'm going to get it done, right? Changing the way that you think about things to feel so much more relaxed. And that's something that's so simple, but again, bringing up the internet, how many times have you seen a video, oh, Amazon must-haves you need to have in your life, right? The word need comes up really often. Or every new mom needs to know about this thing, or everyone applying to college needs to know these tips, or like, you need to be doing this to get the good job. Like, the word need is thrown around so much. What you need to know, right? Oh, here's what you need to know. Do you really need it? Do you really need to know that specific thing? Do you really need that new thing? Do you really need to follow that specific advice? No, you don't. But that word need is so small, holds so much pressure. And when it's constantly being thrown at you from the internet, from your manager, from your friends, from your landlord, from whoever, you end up subconsciously putting yourself under a lot of pressure. And by paying attention to just that word alone, recognizing when you're saying it to yourself and changing it is just enough to start relieving some of the daily pressure you might not even notice that you're feeling in your day-to-day life. Another really good, simple example is the other day, this is a personal example, I was sick, and I caught myself saying, I need to make tea because it's going to make me feel better. And that alone, so simple, the tea is going to make me feel better, is taking the power away from me and my own ability to take care of myself, to heal myself, and it's placing all the responsibility solely on the tea to fix me. I know you're probably like, Jade, you're really digging into this too much, but trust me, this stuff does matter. I know it seems like I'm really taking something tiny and blowing it up, but just bear with me here, because I have another good example that's going to follow this. But shifting that to like, oh, I'm doing what I can to make myself feel better. I think tea is going to help. It's putting the responsibility onto me, making myself feel empowered to feel better, making myself feel empowered to heal and do what I can to take care of myself, follow instructions from the doctor. Yes, tea might make me feel better, but by saying I need to do it because it's going to make me do this is purely placing all the responsibility on something external rather than my own ability to make myself feel better. And the other example I was going to say about like why you're like probably like, Jade, this is so much. I came across like the other day, somebody was sharing something somewhere, I don't even remember where I saw it, about how the expressions that people have about cats, right? Like about how it's just orange cat behavior, right? It's such a common joke that I think a lot of people see. If you've ever, I don't know if you've seen that, maybe you have, but typically like orange cats like tend to be very hyperactive. They're very like, yeah, they're very hyper. At least that's what the internet is saying. And by people just like constantly joking around, like, oh, classic orange cat behavior, and like it started off as a way to just like joke and bond between other owners of orange cats, like that this is how they act. And it started off as something so simple, lighthearted, a joke, right, as most things start off, and now apparently it's actually subconsciously causing people to think differently about orange cats and the way that they are when they go to adopt them, and it's affecting adoption rates the same way that like the superstitions about black cats being bad luck literally does actually have an actual impact in the shelters. And something that started off as something so small, lighthearted, a joke, Jade, you're taking this way too seriously, it's just tea, you said this is gonna make me feel better. Something so small like that literally, as I was saying, adds up over time. And it does have an impact, because now the jokes about black cats, something that, yeah, and maybe a lot of people do know deep down it's just a joke, but there are people who are just constantly hearing it so much over and over again that subconsciously, even if they know it's a joke, now they're at least having a second thought when they're at the adoption center, like, oh, can I handle the orange cat behavior? And it might be the most peaceful, calm, gentle orange cat that's ever lived that's in the shelter, but they're having that thought because the internet is there, and they might not even realize it, because people kept saying it over and over again. Like the little tiny word choices that you make are building up and having an impact very slowly. Even if to you, you might think it doesn't matter, it actually makes the biggest difference. And it's changing the way that you feel about yourself, the way that you think about things. And this is what I was saying, right? It's really common on the internet. Everyone speaks that way, to speak so dramatically, right? You probably come across something stressful and said like, oh, this makes me want to bang my head in a wall, because that's a common like expression. Or like, maybe it's not that common. The other ones are, but I'm not going to say it. And you probably know what I'm talking about. But like those, like that's just, that to your point, that's just how people talk, right? Like, this thing almost ruined my life. You know, this decision almost broke me. Like those expressions, so simple, so little, so common, so normal, so normalized. But like, we're in a mental health crisis. People don't feel very empowered. People don't feel capable of doing things. People feel helpless. People feel like their problems will be solved by buying the things from the Amazon, you need to have, Amazon must-haves, because they feel like they must have it. It matters. Your words are everything, so choose them wisely. Also, disclaimer, I'm not a therapist. I'm not like a professional in this. It's just my observations over the past few months. Something I've been thinking a lot about is the way that I speak, how it's affecting me and the way that I think about things, and how I can change my words and what impact that's going to have. You don't actually need to take my advice, but if you do want to, I'm curious to know if you feel that this has some type of effect. After all, we're all here to learn from each other, so maybe you know something I don't know. Maybe you've experienced differently. Either way, I'd be curious to know what your thoughts are on this. And that's it. I just challenge you to pay attention a little bit more to your word choices and seeing how it impacts the way you feel about things and how you feel about yourself. That's all I got, just some food for thought. And let me know in the comments what you think. Bye.